Welcome to Liberty Today, the show that asks the question, where do the GOP Senate candidates stand on taxes? Stace Nelson is here to answer that one. We'll also have a Q&A about Common Core, and Ed Randazzo tackles the question, is John Thune really a conservative? All this and more, now on Liberty Today.
Whenever you get into a political discussion, taxes always seem to come up. Stace Nelson, candidate for the United States Senate, that's a frequent topic of discussion wherever you go, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is.
And I've got in front of me here some information about the legislative records of 3 of the people in this race. And some of it comes from, I understand, the Rounds for Senate campaign. They did some research and discovered some interesting things. I wonder if they really expected maybe that you would publish some of, some of their research.
I don't probably think they had, but I do appreciate the fact that they did the research. Their research showed that Mike Rounds and Larry Oden had almost an identical record on raising taxes and fees. Matter of fact, between the two of them, there was about 61 tax and fee increases that they in part supported or helped get passed in about a 13-year period of time. And what we did was we looked at their records and we put our record right alongside that. And between the two of them, in their time, Mike Rounds as governor and Larry's time in the 13 years in the legislature, they only opposed 6 of the tax and fee increase bills that passed in about a 23-year combined period of time for those two.
How time flies when you've been in politics for 15 or 20 years.
Yeah, I can't imagine or even think or even fathom doing
How long have you been serving in that capacity, Stace?
I've served in the House, South Dakota House of Representatives for the last 3 years.
3 years. And in that time, you've done more to resist tax and fee increases than the combined totals of 13, 14, 15 years of both of your opponents, perhaps. Would you say that's fair?
Oh, that's fair. According to the research that we did and that the Rounds folks did, I've actually opposed twice as many tax and fee increases than both Mr. Rounds and Mr. Oden combined in my 3 years compared to their actual combined 23 years. So.
Well, that's a record that might serve us well in Washington, D.C., my friend.
Well, and that's the scary part. And folks need to understand that taxes and fees are the lifeblood that grows government. So when politicians are passing more of the taxes and fees, that comes out of folks' pockets. And what happens is the government grows larger, which means the government needs more of your taxes and more of your fees so it can get larger. And what we've got to do is, instead of adding to that culture in D.C., of this massive bloated federal government, is we've got to send someone to D.C. that will fight to cut that. And according to their own voting records that they've released, I'm the only candidate in this race that's an actual true physical conservative that will fight that expansion of taxes and fees and government on the backs of South Dakotans and our fellow Americans. Well,
you know, leadership has a way of compromising principles, or maybe it's that you have to compromise your principles to get into leadership. I don't know, but I guess I was never invited to leadership, and what I would say is that in the 3 years that you served the state of South Dakota, you created quite a stir because you wouldn't compromise on your principles.
Well, and that's correct. And folks need to understand, as a Marine veteran, I can tell you leadership is not a title that somebody bequeaths you or gives you. Leadership is the innate ability to lead when it's difficult situations and to make those difficult decisions and stand on principle and face the consequences. And what South Dakotans need to understand is the South Dakota Republican Party platform says that Republicans are supposed to work to reduce your taxes and to reduce the size of government on your backs. And two of our candidates, one of our candidates has refused to even take a pledge that he won't raise your taxes if he gets in the U.S. Senate. The other one, after a career of raising your taxes and fees, has taken the politically advantageous stance of saying that he now will take a stance of not raising your taxes anymore. I've taken the pledge.
That's a great line, don't you think?
Well, I've taken the pledge long before I got into office that I understood that our government was already too big and they already have enough of your money, both in the state and also in the federal. And what we have to do is work to make government more efficient and to cut that burden on the backs of South Dakotans and Americans. So I took the unusual stance of taking a pledge in my contract with South Dakota of actually saying that I endorse the South Dakota Republican Party platform, which says we are supposed to reduce your taxes. So if these other two gentlemen are supposedly running as Republicans, you would think they would have taken that same pledge with us, because that is the South Dakota Republican Party platform.
Well, the record is clear, and our thanks to the Rounds for Senate campaign for doing some of the research. But your opposition, in a combined legislative career over 23 years, have raised taxes and fees nearly 100 times. That's not a record that excites most conservatives in South Dakota.
No, sir, and it doesn't mean.
Well, God bless you, Stace.
Thank you, sir.
Go to, what's your website, Stace?
It's www.stacenelson.com.
All right, go there. Support this man for United States Senate.
Thank you.